Hey guys, I'm back. I'm here in the kitchen. I thought about doing maybe a video for you guys where I do some actual cooking again. I've done one before, everybody kind of liked it. This is my messy but yet homemade kitchen. I kind of set everything up in here. My wife and I put this thing together. But anyway, just to let you know, we're going to do some country fried steak, but instead of steak, it's going to be venison chops. You see them there. It came off of the buck that I shot, and then I think to go with it, I'm going to do some. I don't know where you guys are from. I'm from originally North Alabama. I live here in Ohio now, but I call them diced potatoes or home fries or just cube potatoes, just fried up little square potatoes, and then it's chopped up Caesar salad to go with it. Probably going to make some gravy, just a little sawmill gravy if I can. So to go with it, anyways, figured I'd take you guys along for the trip for this one. It's a little fun thing, and I know a lot of people aren't into cooking wild game as much. I like it. That's the whole point for me getting it. So figured I'd just kind of go with you, or have you come with me and see how I do it. Anyways, I'll catch you up here in a few. Alright guys, so for our side we're going to make some chopped potatoes. I'll show you how I'm doing those. And it doesn't matter what size you use. You can use a big potato. I usually cut mine in half first, long ways. And then I'm going to actually come over here and take and make these into cubes, or into short, thin layers like that. And then basically you're just going to go and chop them long ways into about a ½ inch thick, like there, and then come back and go the opposite side, and then voila, you've got nice cubed up potatoes. They fry up real good. You don't have to have a lot of grease with them. You can just fry them. I just use spray oil on them. That's it, ½ inch thick this way. Almost like you're making steak fries, but then come back across. And I know there's some people out there that are cooks or chefs or whatever, and they're like, oh, look how he's handling that knife. Well, you know what? I work the knife the way it feels comfortable to me, the way I've got better control all over it. And yes, I keep the skin edges too because I like the little crispies. So anyways, yeah. And like I said, you're going to do the same thing for the same size shapes over on the smaller ones or mid-sized potato. It doesn't matter. You're just going to make them all about ½ inch wide, ½ inch squared. That's all you got to do. That way they fry up evenly. Don't have to be perfect. Like I said, down south we call them home fries. I don't know, different places call them different things. Cube potatoes, diced potatoes. My daughter does them really small. I always thought I like hers a lot because they get really crispy. But she does hers like half that size or even smaller. Oh. And yeah, take your time, go slow enough to where you don't hurt your fingers or cut them. Also guys, this is why you keep sharp knives. You want them to slice properly. I mean, these are good Idaho russets, so. And I'm cutting through them like they're butter. Anyways, I'm going to finish this off and I'll catch you up here very shortly. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and turn our cast iron on and get it hot. This is what I'm actually going to fry the potatoes in. So we now got them all cubed up, nice and even. And let's see, what are we going to look for our seasonings? I actually like Creole seasoning. And I don't know if you've ever used any or not. Tony Chacher's pretty good, and I throw a little Old Bay in there, and that's it. I'm going to put that in there, a little salt, pepper. There we go. And just throw a little bit of Creole in here. Not a ton, just enough to get a little taste on it. And then a little bit of bay. That's it. That's all I need. I'm going to slide those around. Want to make me sneeze. A little spray oil. Does just fine. Remember, we're not deep frying and we're not oven frying, so we're just going to be pan frying. So a little spray oil does a lot. Just going to let it mix. And that's all it takes. Alright. There we go. And once the pan gets nice and warm, I'm going to throw a little seasoning off in there. I don't see, I'm sorry, a little oil, spray a little oil. Just heavy enough to where you have something in the pan. Alright. Now, get my dishwasher going. These are the butterfly chops we're going to use tonight for the, these are venison backstrap. So that's what we're going to be actually making into the country fried steak, but with deer steaks instead. Put that in that little one. So, and yes, guys, I loved cooking with cast iron. I have plenty of others options. A lot of Cuisinart. I have light. This is I'm trying to think of the name of it, but basically cast iron, but ultra thin. Regular cast iron. More. I got different cast irons throughout, and just a warming rack up here. Got my eggs up there waiting. That's for my egg wash for the country fried steak. But anyway, yeah, once it gets heated up, we'll throw the potatoes in there and then start basically moving them around. Hey, by the way, little trick of the trade. That's a tie rack. Those are tie racks up there. I don't wear a lot of ties and suits, but they sure do hold utensils really well. Anyways, I'll keep you guys updated. We'll see you in a little bit. Alright, guys. So now we're back. Now, once you start getting a little bit of smoldering, a little oil bubbling there, you can kind of move it around a little bit and you see it's nice and thin. Get a little sizzle going. Now is when you get to add these wet potatoes. There we are. And make sure you stir them good real quick. I'm just going to lay them in here. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to instantly turn right around. Start rubbing them down there. Moving them. You'll see they'll start soaking the oils up. The idea is you want to get them pretty much in a location to where they're nice and flat. Because you want to get them to where they're going to get some browning on the bottom. Yeah. Yeah, cover them, let them roast for a little bit. Like I said, we're down, instead of halfway, we're just below halfway. We're about 1/3 on. Alright. And now we can rinse this out here in a minute. But we're going to have to go ahead and get started on the actual steak as well. So we're going to start heating our oil. We'll put it down right about the same temperature. I want to let it get starting to get good and golden. And then basically we're going to take our eggs and put them in a plate so we can dip our steaks into them. And our deer steaks I got, now this is from the deer I shot just a couple of weeks ago, you saw. Let's see. It is Hire Brothers is who did my butchering for me. They did an excellent job, by the way. I mean, just guys, if you're in middle Ohio, around the Cleveland or north coast here, that has no sinew skin. These are backstrap steaks, otherwise known as deer chops, butterfly. Oh man, they're good looking. It's just all meat, no extra white sinew skin. They did an excellent job. So, and reasonably priced. I got he caped out my deer, the deer head, caped the whole thing out, and did all of the butchering, all of the packaging, everything. And I mean, and he even gutted it. I didn't have time that night when I shot it to gut it. I ended up getting calls from customers, so I had to leave almost instantly. But he did the whole thing, I kid you not, gutting, processing, skinning, caping, the whole 9 yards for $200. I mean, I know people are like, well, that's kind of expensive. It's not. Not when you consider the distance they have to travel, all the work they have to do, the time storing it, prepping it, and then packaging it. I mean, I've got vacuum sealers. I know how much it costs to get this stuff done. It's a pretty good deal. I mean, I ended up, after everything was said and done, per pound, I paid less than $2.50 per pound of prime cut meat. And, I mean, it did. I'll have to include a few pictures here for the whole process. I'll show you guys how everything turned out. I had a lot of grind meat, several good roasts, and all these chops, and the tenderloins are all, I mean, everything looked great. But anyways, I'm going to get this stuff prepped. For your egg wash, you're just going to break some eggs, and so you can stir it. And yes, I do use farm fresh eggs too, just so you guys know. I'm not big on anything that is not, I'm not a big commercial buyer. Like, I don't eat anything that comes from a window or a frozen food section. I try not to. And let's go over here. You guys are probably getting to see half of my dirty kitchen, and it's not real dirty, it's just cluttered. But we're going to do this kind of like you're stirring for an omelet. Gotta chop this thing. It's been sitting in the corner of that refrigerator too long, to the point where the yolk's been frozen. Now, I add a little bit of milk to mine, so FYI, I do a little bit of milk, not a whole lot, just enough to, I think it helps tenderize the meat a little bit, adds a little extra fat into the egg wash. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to get this mixed up, and I'll catch you up here in a minute. Alright, so now we're going to check our potatoes again. Stir them a little bit. See, they're starting to get nice crispy edges on them and stuff. If you feel them starting to stick a little bit to the pan, it's alright. I just move them out of the way a little bit, put them on the side, and I'll grab me some more of that spray oil. Like I said, we're not trying to deep fry them, but we are trying to make them pan fried. So I'll go back in there and spray the whole lot of them down. A little extra oil, never hurt nobody on that. And then we're going to sit there and just move them around. That's all we're doing. We're just moving them around. Yeah, flatten them out a little bit more and let them get crispy on the bottom again. Alright, now let's get back over here. Got our egg wash complete. But before we start egg washing them, we're going to take these guys, these nice pieces of meat, we're going to go right over here, clean chopping board, and go ahead and grab we're going to tenderize them. Now, people do it different ways. I just use an actual tenderizer that's got the teeth on it and start making a lot of noise. I try to get them as thin as I can without actually without them splitting. So I like it right about like that. Alright. So there's one. And then what we'll do is we'll put our seasoning on them here in a minute. There's two. Now I'm going to get all these done. I'll be right back with you. Alright, so now that I've got them all chopped up, or I mean not chopped up, but tenderized, alright, now we're going to season them while they're over the stove. And I am going to use some of this black and tan. It's by Fire and Smoke. I don't know if you guys have tried it yet. It's got a very herbaceous smell, but at the same time, it's so good on beef, and I've actually used it on lamb. And I mean, if you're looking for a good combination flavor, you can't go wrong when it comes to lamb and beef when it on deer meat. So, so if you haven't tried it, it's good. I like it, and I give mine not a super bad coating, but I do give it a solid enough coating to where it sticks. And I'm a firm believer in getting it all in the meat. This stuff is so good. And that black is not peppering. Believe it or not, that is a type of charcoal induced salt, if I'm not mistaken. Black salt, black pepper, and Hawaiian black. Oh, black Hawaiian salt. Okay. It's got rosemary, garlic, and I mean, it's so good. If you've never tried it, give it a shot. We're just going to go on both sides. See the mess I'm making, guys? This is why my wife, she loves it when I cook, but she hates coming behind me. Alright. So there's that. And now, let that sit for a few minutes. We're going to check our oil. How we're looking over here. I'm not sure how that's looking. I'm going to save that knife in case I'm going to make a salad to go with it. Okay. Now, little trick to the oil test. A little bit of that egg. Yeah, it's right about there. So, we'll give it a couple more minutes to do it. Alright. Alright. Go ahead and stir these potatoes one more time. Ooh, all the smoke coming out of them. Oh yeah. May actually turn these down a little bit. Starting to stick a little, but they're getting that soft feeling. But man, they look good and they smell terrific. So, that's good. Last time I did some of those, I actually used bacon grease. That was really good on them. Alright, well, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our egg wash. We're just going to lay it on a plate. Get it nice and stirred. Small plate, because you want to be able to coat the steaks. Alright, and then we're going to get our other bowl up here that I have. And we're going to put our salt, pepper, And I use a little cornstarch with mine. And flour. Oh, that slipped out there. Alright. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of flour. 1, 2. That's a tablespoon. And then we'll take a little cornstarch. Cornstarch is really good and it gives a nice little extra crisp. Not a whole lot's required, just a little bit. Because we're going to mix that really, really good. And then we're going to take our black pepper in. Yeah. There we go. And take a little whisk and kind of mix that in real good. Okay. And we'll keep that up there just in case we need more. Okay. Now, I'll bring this over here because we're going to dip it and then dip it and then put it right into the oil. And get the pincher there. Okay, boy. Keeping an eye on everything at one time. That's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and get a piece of our country fried steak. Egg wash it. All we're doing is dipping. Shake off the excess. Lay it in the flour. Flip it again. Lay it in the flour. Flip it again. You're just going to keep doing this until you basically get a nice coating. Some people go twice, and you can do that if you want. I mean, I like the breading, but I don't want too much of it. And then we're going to take that and just lay that gently in the oil. Yeah. Okay, and that's it. You're going to repeat that with each piece. And after this one cooks for a minute, I'll show you what it's going to look like. I mean, that's all we're doing. What you're looking for is the edges to turn really super golden and darker. And then we'll flip it in the oil there, and it'll be good to go. And cast iron, when you start getting all your hard edges on your potatoes, like right now, I can go ahead and turn these off. And it's going to stay plenty warm in there. They're already pretty much cooked. And while they finish, that's the thing with cast iron, is you want to go ahead and let it go slow and easy. Oh yeah, look at that. That just looks so good. Yeah. Let that fry for a few minutes, and while we're doing that, go ahead and start the next piece. Alright. Let that sit in that egg wash for a minute. Go ahead and get a plate. You guys sitting there look at my dog's dishes. I'm surprised my dogs aren't running in here trying to beg for food. Go ahead and put a plate up on. I'll put it back here. Look at that. It just smells good. It looks good. Yes, for everybody asking, I have a cold. Not bad. Just a little sniffle. Okay. And then when this is done, what we're going to do is we'll get all the pieces done, and we're going to use this same pan and some more of this flour, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a sawmill gravy. It's wonderful. Just basically butter, salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, and flour, and sawmill gravy to go on top of your country fried steak. So, anyways, I'll get back with you guys here in a few minutes. Alright guys, so here's what the finished product of the actual steaks look like. Nice and crispy on the outside, but pliable. So, I'll put those up there in the warming rack. And now we're going to go ahead and make our gravy. So we got the pan back in after I cleaned it out. Like I said, I like using cast iron because it's very simple to use. Matter of fact, to clean it, all I did was basically put some water in it, let it steam itself out, dump it out, and rinse it out real quick, and you can see it's back to being normal. But we're going to take about, let's see, what is this? Almost 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to let that just sit there and melt. Okay. Because what we're going to be doing is, and while this is melting down, we're going to take some of the same exact rub that we put on the steaks, and we're going to put that in this with this gravy. Not a whole lot of it, just enough to give it a little bit of flavoring. And then we're going to let that butter, wipe this lid off a little bit, it has flour on it. Let that butter melt. And yes, it's real butter. We don't use margarine. I don't like eating plastic. Let me get our flour back out. Little hand sifter there. You can take it. We're going to sprinkle that flour in here in a minute. As soon as this butter is ready to go. And anyways, I'll catch you up in a minute. Alright, now that our butter has turned almost like a goldish brown, I'm going to take a scoop, level it off, and then basically we're just going to come in here and just pat it, make it fill in. I'm going to fill that butter up. Like I said, we're not going too heavy with it, not too light, because all we're doing with it is creating just enough there. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, because we want a pretty consistency with it. Pretty thick here in a minute. That's all we're doing. I feel like I'm talking like Bob Ross. Happy trees. Alright. Yeah. And what we're going to do is basically take you a wooden spoon or something. You got that turned on low. And then we're going to add our peppering to it. Fresh ground pepper. Okay, and I'm going to throw a little extra salt on it. Yeah, there we go, just a little bit. And then I'm going to get some garlic powder. Not covering a lot, but just enough to, I want a little bit of a garlicky-ness to it. And then we're going to take all this and just kind of move it around. Yeah. You're browning the flour. You're making what's called a roux. You can make it as a bechamel. Bechamel is usually used if you're going to make like a cream or cheese sauce. I'm not exactly sure what the specifics are. I've always been told that a roux is you use water, and bechamel you use cream. But my grandmother and me, we actually used both. A little bit of milk or cream and water. I'll start with water and then I'll add cream, or milk, I mean, to make it what I want. And see how that's nice and brown now. That's mainly because of the coloring that came with the ingredients we put in the butter. Alright, so now we're going to come over here, and I happen to have an extremely hot pouring sink, so not everybody does. It's alright. Alright, we're going to take that and a whisk, and we're going to add this to it. I want the bottom of the pan pretty much coated. Let the steam run for a minute. Ooh, because that's really hot on your fingers. Then we're going to add more. Oh, well, it's messy. Rule of thumb is if it looks perfect, you ain't cooking it right. It's going to take a minute to get it to where you need to be. Yeah. A little bit more of this water in there. And we've pretty much made our gravy thickness roux. And like I said, I'm going to probably put a little bit of milk in there with it in a minute. And turn this all the way down on low because I don't need it to go to a certain height or temperature. Now, if your whisk is too wide open, like this has a lot of, this is actually made for omelets and stuff. I have other ones, but I tell you one of my favorite little tools to use, in case you've never used one, is these baskets. They're actually made for deep fryers, but yes, I'm one of those guys. I leave the refrigerator open. We'll put cold water with it now that we've already created the one point to it. If you've never used one of these, hold it upside down, and voila, you can start. You can get along the edges really good. Throw a little milk in there, and but a little bit more, just a little bit, and that's it. We're good. Let that sit for a minute. Put this back and oh yes. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this off. I'll catch you guys back up here in a few minutes. Alright guys, so the gravy got done. That's the way it should look when you're done with it right here. We got it nice and smooth. And I went ahead and chopped up some salad. Which, I mean, this is just a Caesar salad. So it's, you know, a little bit of salt, pepper, romaine lettuce all chopped up. I use Ken's Caesar dressing. And I throw some Parmesan in it. I actually like to add a little bit of red pepper flake. But so now we're ready to serve. Everything's done. We'll move these away. And there's my dog staring at me, wondering if I'm going to get. He's wondering, did I get some of that? But anyway, yeah. And let's see here. Oh yeah. There's one. Go ahead and get 2 pieces of this meat. Country fried steak. And let's get a little bit of gravy on it. Oh yes. Let's spread those out a little bit more. There we go. Country fried steak and gravy, but instead of with beef, nice healthy venison. Sawmill gravy with a little bit of flavoring in it. Oh yeah. And let's get some potatoes on here. And that's how the potatoes come out looking, guys. Nice little soft but crispy edge nuggets. Oh yeah. And that's the way it's supposed to look right there. Alright. Let's get us a fork. And we'll try to take a little bite here. I'll let it rest for a few minutes so we're good. It's cutting pretty good, nice and easy. Oh yeah. Call this pitmaster privilege, right? Oh, that's awesome. That is really, really good. All right. Well, guys, I'm super satisfied. That's a really good meal, really easy to make, not that involved. Good wild game meal. So hope you guys try it sometime. Hope you guys enjoy everything. I'm going to go ahead and eat this food. It tastes good right now and it's still hot, so I'm going to bid you adieu and tell you, hey, until the next time I see you, get outdoors, get living, and I'll see you next time on God Be Outdoors.